Smaug. Hello and welcome back to another video from Secrets of the Rings, where we celebrate and delve deep into all things Tolkien. Today we will look into the legacy of Smaug, the greatest dragon of the Third Age. Where was he from? What role did he play in the stories of Middle-earth? Let's find out. If you enjoy our videos, please like and subscribe for more content, and let us know what you would like to see more of. After the conclusion of the First Age, dragons that remained in Middle-earth settled and bred in the Grey Mountains of the North, or the Ered Mithrin. Smaug was born sometime in the 3rd millennium of the Third Age. The exact date of his birth is unknown, but he was considered to be young when he overtook Erebor in Third Age 2770, yet old and strong by 2941. This would place him at too young to participate in the War of the Dwarves and Dragons, or not yet born. Smaug of the Uruk-loke, or Fire Drakes, was the most magnificent dragon of the Third Age. His scales shone red and golden. He stood massive above his adversaries, possessing incredible destructive power. He was also high in intellect, curiosity, and arrogance, being given names such as Lord Smaug the Impenetrable and Smaug the Unaccessibly Wealthy. In Third Age 2770, knowing of the great splendor held by the dwarves in Erebor, Smaug would make his attack. Erebor is located in the northeastern region of Middle-earth, right above Mirkwood, and serving as the head of the running river. Traveling south from the Grey Mountains like a hurricane, Smaug lands upon the Lonely Mountain before laying waste to its inhabitants as they try to flee. No dwarf is left alive that day, save Thror, the king under the mountain, and his son Thrain II, who escape through a secret passageway. In the mayhem, Smaug also attacks the city of Dale at the foot of the mountain, killing many of the warriors and their leader, Girion. The Hoard of Erebor, containing the Arkenstone, a gem referred to as the heart of the mountain, and a mithril coat now belonged to Smaug. He would sleep upon it for the next 2 centuries, waking occasionally to pick off maidens and other people of Dale for food. The region of continued devastation surrounding the Lonely Mountain came to be known as the Desolation of Smaug, a seared and barren place. In Third Age 2850, Gandalf the Grey arrives at Dol Guldur to spy on the necromancer that haunted the fortress. He finds a dying Thrain who had been captured 5 years prior and is gifted with the key and map to the Lonely Mountain. Gandalf is also able to confirm the identity of the necromancer as Sauron. This sparks his desire to rid the north of Smaug, for an alliance between Sauron and the dragon would be far too powerful to overcome. By chance in 2941, Gandalf meets Thorin Oakenshield at Bree, the son of Thrain II, who had been away from Erebor during its sacking. Agreeing on the problem of Smaug, Gandalf and Thorin meet again in Thorin's halls in the Blue Mountains, located at the western coast of Middle-earth, to form a plan. Gandalf insists on including the Hobbit, Bilbo Baggins, which was not easily accepted by Thorin. They finally gather at Bilbo's residence in Bag End with the rest of Thorin's company, and it is there that Gandalf reveals the map and key to the mountain, thus beginning the quest for Erebor. Gandalf, Bilbo, and the dwarves arrive at Erebor later in the year 2941, on Durin's Day, the only day of the year that the sun would shine perfectly upon the door to the mountain to allow them entry through the secret passageway. Smaug lay sleeping upon the treasure, having now accumulated a thick crust of gems and jewels on his underbelly, protecting the most vulnerable parts of any dragon. Bilbo is sent to retrieve the Arkenstone, but ends up stealing a single cup. Having woken from a dream foretelling Bilbo's thievery and suspicious of the breeze and knocking from the tunnel to the secret passage, Smaug notices the missing cup, as dragons are wont to do, and becomes furious. He leaves the main hall to seek the intruder on the mountainside, finding and killing only the ponies on which Thorin and company rode in. Bilbo re-enters the chamber wearing his ring, thus remaining invisible to the dragon, but Smaug only pretends to be asleep. Their famous encounter ensues, as Bilbo reveals himself and speaks to Smaug in riddles about his identity, praising the dragon's might and splendor at the same time. Helplessly curious, Smaug entertains the hobbit, the likes of which he had never smelled or tasted before. But he knew Bilbo was with the dwarves, having tasted them on the ponies he consumed. As the conversation grows more and more uncomfortable, Bilbo reveals the real motive for his thievery as revenge by bitter enemies. Smaug laughs at the thought and boasts to Bilbo, who points out the soft and penetrable underbellies of dragons. In his pride, Smaug rises to flash his jewel-crested chest, but in doing so reveals a small weak spot to the hobbit. Smaug sets his fury on Lake Town, an extension of the city of Esgaroth, located shortly south of Dale on the long lake that embeds the running river. During Bilbo's riddling, he cleverly refers to himself as Barrel Rider, citing recent adventures with the dwarves. But this leads Smaug to conclude that the men of Lake Town were involved, and they would become the next victim of his destruction. Bilbo escapes the chambers just out of reach of the dragon's flames. In Smaug's departure, he smashes against the mountainside, trapping Thorin and company from escaping. He then flies to Lake Town, destroying the great house with his tremendous tail. Smaug was in such an enraged state that he greatly exposed himself in his swooping attacks. A descendant of Girion, Bard II, makes his best attempts to rally defenses and fires arrows at the dragon to no avail. During the fray, Bard is visited by a thrush. A thrush in Middle-earth is a special type of bird that can be understood by the men of Dale and Lake Town, and this particular bird was also involved with Bilbo and the dwarves' encounter with Smaug. It warns Bard of the vulnerable spot on Smaug's underbelly. He grabs the Black Arrow, a weapon of the Lonely Mountain from generations past belonging to his family. This arrow would always be recovered by he of the bloodline who shot it. Bard manages to fire the Black Arrow straight into the bare spot of Smaug's chest, killing him in the air. The dragon descends from the sky, landing on and destroying the city of Esgaroth. Thus ended Smaug the Impenetrable. Smaug's influence struck fear and despair amongst the region even after his death. His legacy included the dragon sickness of Thorin Oakenshield, who claimed the hoard and would even go to war over it, as well as the master of Lake Town, who, upon receiving some aid for rebuilding, would wander into the wastelands instead and starve to death. The allure of treasure long brooded upon by dragons leads the recipient to an intense, paranoid madness. Smaug's bones remained in the lake, while the city was rebuilt further north. Even then, no one dared investigate the water where the dragon's bones lay, despite the jewels that sank with him in his ruin. The death of Smaug marked the death of any significant threats from dragons that may have remained in Middle-earth. It is also interesting to note the figures in this tale demonstrating the influence of Norse mythology on Tolkien's, including dwarves, wise birds, and Smaug himself. What do you think? What if Bard missed with the Black Arrow? What would have happened if Smaug and Sauron united? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks again for joining us in another exploration of Tolkien's Legendarium, and stay tuned for more fascinating videos. Be sure to like and subscribe and give us a follow on Instagram at Secrets of the Rings. Until next time, Namarie.